Have you ever wanted to fight enemies as an apple? If yes, it's your lucky day, because that's possible in Reverse 1999. Reverse 1999 is actually one of the uniquest games I've played so far, especially talking about the characters in general. The overall storyline and concept of the game is that on the last day of 1999, holy shit, the rain is loud. Time starts flowing backwards. So that phenomenon is called the storm. You basically experience the different eras of the 1900s. There's a bit more to it, but I don't want to spoil anything, so let me get started with what I actually want to do. First of all, I am not sponsored by the game. I'm purely doing this for fun. I fell in love with it, and that is why I want to create my own character. The rain is literally so loud because it's not rain, it's ice. Why is it hailing all of a sudden? It's almost completely covered in ice. Oh my god. This cannot be a coincidence because each character in the series has their own concept. And I want my character to be based off art and weather, because I'm just in love with weather and nature in general. And I want to use the primary colors of light, which are red, green and blue, to design my character. If you mix up red, green and blue, you get white. And white is light, and light is part of the weather because it's coming from the sun, and that's why I'm gonna use these colors for my design. I want one of my weapons to be a color palette, but in the shape of a body that's high up in the sky, such as the sun or stars. It's going to have spikes, kind of like this, but this does not look like what I imagined. I should try to brainstorm a bit. So, I finished the palette. As you can see, it doesn't really look like a palette anymore, but it's see-through. And I think that's really cool. And additional to a palette, an artist needs a brush. The design is pretty simple, but I like it. And now that the weapons are finished, we should start taking care of the actual design. Alright, I'm not that of an expert when it comes to outfits. Well, I'm not an expert at all, but I can certainly try. I only have really basic clothing items at home, and the ones I brought with me don't even have the color scheme I'm going for, but I'm gonna combine them to get an overall reference of the shape the outfit's gonna have. First of all, I love shirts like this. You can see me running around in summer with these all the time. What if I just leave it on one side to make it short sleeved here and long sleeved here? Now, to make myself really look like an artist, I have my apron here, and here we have one of my favorite shirts because it's very long and it looks amazing and flowy if you put it on. Now this dynamic up here will get lost if I put it on, so I will just tie it around my waist. I like the flowiness of this. If you remember the adventuring outfit, what really gave it the finishing touch was this band on my wrist. I will just try it again. Let me look at myself in the microwave. Not bad at all. This is the shape I want. And now it's time for me to experiment with a color scheme. As you can see, I also added a little beret. I mean, I'm doing an artist character. Of course I have to add one. First, let's try to experiment with grayish blues. Blue. I want the most colorful point to be the sleeve and maybe the shoes. Okay, then let's make the apron gray. Right now I kind of look like a baker. The gray is kind of throwing me off. Maybe a darker blue. This is not yet what I'm going for. Let me add some accessories on top. I want to have a bag on top with additional accessories attached to it. These are paint containers in the shape of raindrops. I'm going to try to splash some color on top of here. My initial idea was to make everything pretty desaturated so the color on top could really stand out. That is the first idea, but I do not really like it. Let me try another one. Maybe I just have to leave everything pretty white and only details that I want to stand out are gonna be colored. Let me put a gradient on the apron. And also the hat. Okay, look at the comparison. The right one looks so much more pleasing to look at. Let me try to add the colors in form of raindrops. Still have to think about it, but this is quite a good idea. I'm going to try to reverse the contrast for the third one, which means the apron is gonna be white and the rest dark blue, maybe? Okay, yeah, but no. I think my decision is clear. This one is by far the best one. And now that I have the design finished, I'm gonna try to recreate the in-game models. I'm also gonna try to animate it, so it's gonna take quite some time. It's now time to start the grind. This is hurting my eyes. It took me quite a decent amount of time to finish everything. I'm gonna admit that I'm really satisfied with the outcome, and this model is able to be animated because each single part is separate. I made a few adjustments, such as removing the paint containers and replacing them with my palette because it just looked better. I also added a little bow here, as well as a colorful necklace, a little belt on my arm, and a pattern on my sleeve. I just have to think of a cool way to pose. And that is one of my weaknesses. I might have to look at a reference first. Okay, make an update, but make it quick. I already know what my idle pose is going to be, because that's something I also do in real life. I adjust my glasses. Most of the time like this, but this looks fancier. I wish I was able to spin the brush in my hand like a lot of people do, because that just looks so cool. I recently taught myself to use Live 2D, and this is actually my first complicated model that I'm working on, and that is why the range is maybe not wide enough for me to adjust my glasses and spin my brush. Also, I'm using the free version, which means I can only have a limited number of meshes, so the brush is attached to the hand and the hand is not able to reach my face, but that's okay. The actual outcome is me gesturing with my brush. I'm gesturing a lot in real life, so I think it's accurate, but everything else was successful, such as talking, blinking, breathing. And now that we have this model finished, it's time to take care of the second one. Yes, there is a second one, but it's not that detailed. It's actually a chibi, because for battles, chibis are used, which I'm really glad about at this point, because it's gonna be a bit less complicated. I tried to recreate the in-game style as best as I could, also keeping everything separate for it to be able to be animated. And yeah, all I have to think about at this point is poses. In the game, each character has a set of skills, which is the first skill, the second skill, and the ultimate skill. Let me get started with the first skill. Okay, my battle stance is going to be something like this. And the first attack with the brush is going to be like this. I prepare to take a swing, and then I swing and down. I like it, I like it. Okay, for me to be able to reach here, I made an additional arm, which means this arm will be taken back in the animation and a new arm will appear. I created a really simple battle background. It's not detailed at all. The thing we want to focus on is the character. Now that I have this movement, it's time to make the special effects. What I had in mind was me throwing the primary colors up in the air, then they're mixing together, forming clouds, and raining down as secondary colors. And the raindrops are kind of crystallized. The method I used was actually frame-by-frame animation. It can be split in two parts. First of all, we have the colors that form into clouds, and then the rain that is splashing down. It's not that complicated, and if you put it together and put some effects over it, it looks like this. And it looks cool, but there's still something missing, which is sound design. If I move my arm in real life, you cannot hear it, but in movies, video games, etc., movements like this are emphasized. So to swinging arms, you just add whoosh sound effects. Then, when I reach at my palette, it also makes a sound. We need a sound of clothing, such as this. We need to make the rain feel like actual crystals coming down. Here we have a crystal sound, maybe a bit of shattering glass, and to finish it off, a thunder. And if we put it all together, it sounds like this. That's what I'm satisfied with. I want my second skill to be an attack as well. For that, I'm gonna use my palette. I kind of reach out to my palette and throw it and catch it again. Here I took a bit of a different approach. I basically made the palette spin, then I tilted it and applied a special effect on top. And then you just have to move it across the scene. For the special effects animation, I used Note Video. Now, one of my favorite parts, sound design. Whooshes, reaching into my bag, a throwing motion, and a metallic sound to make it sound like a blade. And there we have it. The ultimate is twice as long as my skills, and it was the hardest one for me to figure out. The finished outcome is alright. Basically, I summon the three primary colors, fuse them together, and with the result, I blast a cannon of white light at my enemies. The shapes are just simple shapes. The light beam is white with color streaks, edited and pressed together, and the special effect of the light beam is once again made in Node video, based on this blob that I created in Procreate. I added a sound for every single color. Some sounds that I found that might sound like a light cannon. To finish it off, whooshes to build up the blast. And yeah, the finished result looks and sounds like this. Okay, now I have all my skills, but the skills also have skill cards. The art style is actually pretty simple, but it will be hard to recreate the simple style. So let me see what I can do. Before we start working on the card's composition, we have to figure out a color scheme. Now that is kind of a challenge for me because my character has a pretty wide range of colors and the color schemes of the cards do not. For example, this is the color scheme of Sonetto's cards. It consists out of grays based on her outfit and reddish browns based on her hair. The most colorful one by far that I've found is Leilani's color scheme. We have colors ranging from green to blue to orange, yellow and pink. I don't want to go too overboard, but I do want to add color. I am going to start with black and white, of course, because like 60% of my outfit is just white. Let me try to add grayish blues first. And also the brown of my hair, bag and shoes. There's one issue, which is the saturated colors. No matter how I arrange them, they just simply don't fit at all. The solution is probably to desaturate them, which makes them look a bit muddy. Let me turn the brightness up a bit. This doesn't quite look great to me, but at least better than before. This is my color scheme for now. So onto the design. Let me get started with the first one. Okay, maybe we have rain that's coming down like this. Let me try a more symmetrical design. Maybe rain splashing down. I like that a lot. Let's draw the palette swinging around and then my ultimate skill. First approach, this is me. I'm holding up a hand. This is my brush. And then we have the color wheel here. I'm not that sure about the ultimate yet, but I am sure about the skills. So let me add some color. The background is gonna be black. Or wait, maybe I'm gonna make the background blue. Stuff is coming down from the sky. That looks a bit like a beam of electricity. I'm onto something. I am onto something here. The rain is gonna consist out of the secondary colors. The background is distracting. Let's add some more fragments. Something like this. I can also add some gradients up here. Make it a bit darker. Moving on. Let me draw the palette. I want to tilt it a bit. Another gradient. There's something missing. There's a lot missing. But let's move on. We have the color wheel here. Some action lines. A little gradient. I'm going to try to add my silhouette and highlights. On top of that, my glasses. These are my skills. Now it's time to refine them. I wanted to keep them simple, so I did not add much more. What I did was turn the gradients into dotted patterns, and that was the best decision because it makes it look finished. I kept it simple. I'm happy with it. Now the ultimate, I kind of broke my own rules for the ultimate. I made it a lot more colorful than planned, but I want to keep it like that. And now that we have all 3 skill cards, I can finally show you my menu overlay, which is this. And now real life me is going to introduce in-game me. There's something important missing. Voice lines. One really big reason why I chose to make a fan character for this game is that the characters canonically have accents, just like me. So I don't have to be scared of my English not being perfect enough to voice a character. There's still the fact that I'm not a voice actor and have 0 voice acting experience, but this is just for fun and I think it's gonna be alright. First of all, we have some voice lines that the character says when they're just standing in the character menu. How would I greet people? I'm usually, at least I think so, a very approachable person, but I'm also not the most energetic kind of person. Let me think of something in between. Let's find something in between hey and Hey, you know what? I like tea. I'm just gonna ask you if you want tea. Maybe I'm gonna open it with a question, just like, is it still raining? And I made some tea. Yes. Okay. Sit down. Sit down. I made some tea. Sit down. I made some tea. I made some tea. I made some tea. I made some tea. I made some tea for you. That's it. That's the line. Let me try something out. Don't you love the smell of the air before it starts raining? Let me add a German line, but I have to get rid of my R first, because my German R is like Regen. Es hat geregnet. It's rather gonna be Regen. Es regnet. Es regnet. Hat es wieder angefangen zu regnen? Der Wind ist heute ziemlich stark. And I'm just saying that because the wind really is strong today. That tree is not bending in a healthy way. I think that's all of the interior voice lines. And now, onto the battle ones. I'm gonna try my best. Attack. I can just describe my skill, for example. Colored rain. Farbiger Regen. A great one would also be, are you made out of sugar? Because that's what we Germans say when people complain about getting wet in the rain. Let me try. Made out of sugar. Or I can just go like, Regen. Oh my god, voice acting is not my thing. It's fun, but it's also hard and needs a lot of training. Why am I even thinking so hard about this? There's literally characters just laughing their head off. And there's this one character, she's like, an eye for an eye. I have all the freedom that I want. Get cut by the wrath of the sun. Okay, that's too long. Maybe something like, watch out, flying colors. I already have an idea for my ultimate skill. Day mode. Oh my god, wait, you're gonna hate me for this, but I'm a person always using day mode on all my devices. Because in night mode, my vision always shifts in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it. I'm gonna implement that in my skill. Close your eyes. Day mode activated. Yes, that's a great one. That's all the voice lines I could think of. Characters usually have a couple more. A lot more, actually, but this is just for a trailer, so let me try not to go overboard. I think my character is now finally completely finished. And I prepared a little trailer. This trailer is based on the fact that my character gets stressed out easily. And whenever she gets stressed out or anxious, she loses the ability to see colors. And in order to see colors again, she has to calm down first. Overall, it turned out way more deep than I expected, but enjoy. Sometimes, when I'm around people, I feel more alone than when I'm by myself. People love to gossip. They frequently spread negativity and complain about everything, including the weather. They complain about rain, wind, even the sun. Being around them too much makes me feel empty. Because I tend to forget how beautiful the world actually is, how much color there is in everything, how beautiful nature is, that everything doesn't have to be negative, doesn't have to be a problem, that sometimes you just have to breathe. Life can actually be pretty beautiful. Hey! Is it still raining? Come on, sit down. I made some tea. Crystallized rain. Watch out! Close your eyes. Day mode activated. Well, that was a lot of fun. I love this game and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. So have a nice day, even your night, and see you next time.